Welcome to the Divine Play Podcast,
a practical guide to living with joy.
Good afternoon. I am so excited to be here on another episode of the Divine Play Podcast. I am Shannon Morrison.
And I am Mirilena Lee.
And we are so excited to have this beautiful conversation with Miss Nicolette Moore. Thank you so much for being here.
Happy to be here, ladies.
I'm going to tell you a little bit more about Nicolette, and then we're going to just dive into this conversation. Nicolette says, magic isn't just for fairy tales. It's what happens when you relentlessly pursue your calling. Meet Nicolette Moore, your real-life unicorn who turns agonizing heartbreak into a roadmap for others to triumph. Leading a dynamic agency, she crafts unicorn messages that make your heart-centered prose into world changers. Connect with Nicolette to design your brand building message on or off any stage. This is beautiful. I am so excited to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you. Can you hear the crowds going wild?
I can.
I like how we all did like claw hands, like kitty cat claws. Feel sorry for the people at home who couldn't see that.
Me too. Me too. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. So tell us, besides this, I love this. I love your bio. I love this conversation about bringing magic to the table. Tell us a little bit more about you.
Oh God.
No pressure.
I have easy questions, Nicolette. Mirilena is the one you should be scared of, okay?
Well, what do you want to know exactly? There's 40 years of history here, but I can tell you that I, just an overall overarching thing is I'm a Southern belle, from born and raised Lafayette, Louisiana, Cajun country all the way. Grew up eating Buddha and all these awful, disgusting foods that I will not eat.
It's so
anymore.
good.
I know it's so good.
Not disgusting. It's so good.
I'm now a kosher eater, so I don't eat any pork or shrimp or any of that stuff. So TMI, maybe, I don't know.
But I have no idea what you're talking about because I'm from Nebraska and Washington.
Oh yeah, Buddha is a whole thing.
It's a whole thing. It's a sausage casing stuffed with like pork and meat and herbs and rice. And
also
you like
blood.
and also blood. It is disgusting. I was very resistant to Boudin the first time I ate it. I was like, oh hell no, this is not happening. And then I was married to a Cajun for 4 years.
Oh snap. Yeah.
And so now I'm like, girl needs some Boudin. I need to go to some Louisiana.
Yeah. I have a very strong urge to say laissez les bon temps roulé right now, so I'm just saying it.
Right. Laissez
les bon temps roulé.
That's right.
Yeah, so grew up eating Buddha. And I was in Cajun country, Catholic country, which is very significant to my story, by the way. Just grew up in a really very sheltered home and small town girl, and decided when I was about 20 years old, and I decided to just spread my wings and fly. And I went across the world. I had never flown or traveled really anywhere significant. Flew across to New Zealand. No. Yeah, New Zealand. Where did I start? Yes, New Zealand. And became a missionary. Did that for 6 months and then decided, hey, that was fun. Let me join the army. So I joined the army after. And, the rest is history. I got shacked up with a man. Then had kids, and I haven't stopped having kids since. And that's about the 30,000 foot view of Nicolette Moore.
And now we're here because you lived here like 6 weeks ago. 6 weeks ago is your last child.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for you. Congratulations again. This is amazing. And when we're recording this, he is 6 weeks old, which is amazing.
Yeah. Oh, and I stalked your Facebook. He's real cute.
Yeah, he's super cute.
He's super cute. He's so tiny. He's so itty bitty. Yeah. So I have questions. We have to back up. So you grew up Catholic, but now you're kosher.
Catholic to kosher.
Yeah. So is there a conversion story in here somewhere?
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think, I like to look at messaging, by the way. I really like to look at through lines. Like what are your different story points, those moments in time that define who you become, who you are? And the Catholic to kosher is definitely one of those a story arc for me. And so, yeah, growing up, very rigid Catholic family, did not have a lot of freedom of expression, was not free to be me, or didn't feel like I was free to be me. And when I was, the defining moment for me was being a young adult. I was about 17, 18 years old in a very toxic relationship. My first real serious boyfriend. He was a drug addict. He was a coke addict. And I would go out, I was a waitress at the time, and I would go out with him and all the kitchen staff and all the other waiters and waitresses. And we would do drugs all night long. Like I was, in the thick of it. I was doing it. I was partying, and I was living with my mom and dad. And they were okay with it. Like they didn't know really the extent of what I was doing, but they knew I was going out and partying. And anyway, there was a night where my boyfriend at the time, he went batshit crazy on me. Is it okay to curse on here? Can we curse?
Yeah.
So he went nuts on me, and he was upset because I was hanging out with some friends. He came up and picked me up in a coke rage, and the way that I remember it, I felt like he was going to kill me that night. He was driving like a maniac on the old country Cajun roads. If you're familiar with that area, in the back country roads of Louisiana, they have like these tiny little roads, concrete roads or asphalt roads. And then the what are they called? The ditches are like stupid deep. Like, I don't know how people are not dying every day driving down these roads, like 8, 9, 10 feet deep ditches. And here's this guy like driving like a maniac, screaming at me because I had the audacity to hang out with friends. Anyway, long story short, I went to church after I met with a friend, and she was like, come to church with me. And I was like, okay, just wanting to find somewhere I could, I don't know, like I just knew I was needing something beyond this group of people that I was a part of. And all these people of this community that I found were all Christian, not Catholic, and they were non-denominational. And I just fell in love with this group of people. I felt really connected to them. I went home to my parents and I told them, I'm leaving the Catholic Church. Like, I'm not doing this mass thing anymore. I felt like there was a lot of hypocrisy in the church. I didn't feel love or passion or connection there. And I did with this group of people. And my mom was like, she pretty much told me I was going to hell. She told me that, it was the worst decision of my life. And I really resented her for that for a very long time, because I thought, here I am in an abusive relationship. You can see it's unhealthy. You see I'm going out and partying, and it's okay as long as I go to mass on Sundays. And that was one of those moments in my life where I realized I've got to, like, I can't rely on what other people think of me or what they say to me. Like, it's one of those moments where I just stood on my feet a little bit stronger and saw the importance of my own, like the navigation of conversations in my own mind and what I chose to do with them, instead of, yielding to my mommy and saying, okay, I'll stay Catholic. It's like, no, this is my journey. So kosher came later, but that was the tipping point for me to start exploring faith outside of Catholicism. The whole kosher thing it's a whole other thing.
Whole other conversion story.
I like the tagline though.
Yeah. It's part of the timeline.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh
and
gosh.
So, I'm really curious about, because it sounds like you've been through quite a bit, and, there are a lot of really big events in your story that I have from what you shared with us and in kind of the application process. And you've had a lot come your way that honestly seems like it might just seem like the world was crashing down all around you. And, changing religions, leaving a religion is the world crashes down around you. Your entire family structure changes. Your social networks change. You begin questioning everything you believe. That is a difficult thing to go through. And I myself left the church, and then came back to my own relationship with God later. But, you know, with all of these things that you've had in your life, right, where the world was just crashing down around you, there was a quote that I found when I went and Facebook stalked you, which she has great information on her Facebook, y'all. Lots of fun stuff there, and also beautiful baby pictures. Yes. But one of the quotes I read was from Howard Thurman. And it says, don't ask what the world needs, ask what makes you come alive. Do that, go do that. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive. And so I know for a lot of people out there, they know that they're meant for more than the daily grind, right? And they are crushed. They're literally crushed by a world that is coming down around their ears. Maybe they've lost a loved one. Maybe they just lost their job. Maybe they're in an abusive marriage. Maybe they're suicidal. And in this world where everything feels like it is just crashing down around you and you're buried in the rubble, how do you fight the urge to just lay down and go to sleep? And then how do you find the courage to do what makes you come alive? And I know that's just a real lighthearted question, but it really struck me. With some of the things in your story, some of the things you've been through. You were a U.S. Army medic. I mean, that in and of itself, I'm sure you saw things that you'll never be able to unsee. And then also some things that have happened in your personal life, things you've been through. And so that's the question, like, how do you come alive when it feels like you're buried underneath a mountain of rubble?
Yeah. Yeah. With my experience, the trick, the secret that we all know, and yet we shy away from, my experience is most people shy away from. And I catch myself doing it as well. But my experience is, we must seek support. And we must be wise about who we seek support from. I was talking about my mom recently, right? I love my mom. We had a very long stint of no relationship, or a very strained, tense relationship because of the whole departure from Catholicism. But now I'd say my mom's one of my besties. I love her very much. And she, as much as I love her and love our relationship, she's not, I have learned over the years, she is not the source for me to go to in my time of stress, anxiety, overwhelm. When I feel like the world's crumbling on top of me, Mama, if you're listening, I love you, but it's not a good resource for me, because she tends to side with me.
She doesn't push you outside of your story.
Right.
Is what I'm hearing.
Correct. She'll rally behind my pain, and she'll reaffirm my pain, which is not actually supportive.
Shannon, this shit just got juicy. Like,
oh, I know. I'm here for all of it.
Like, hell yeah. Like, holy shit. Yeah, that is a really good thing to think about, because I thought where you were going with that was, be careful. Like Brene Brown is like, you know, be careful who you trust with your story. Like, be careful who you give that to, because not everybody is going to be in your corner. But you took that shit in a whole nother direction. Like, careful who you go to with your painful story, because you don't want them to reinforce it. That's Correct. A whole nother level
Correct.
Of like fucking A-team. We talk about the A-team in my circles. Like, you have to have your fucking A-team. Those people, wow, you asked if we cursed, and like now the seal is broken. Sorry, y'all.
Bring it.
But, yeah, it's like the A-team has to be the people who are going to be like, is that really the way it is though? Yeah. That painful story you're believing? Like, are you sure about that? Is there any chance that's not true? And I think that is so much more valuable than, oh wow, let me bandage all your wounds and, like, you know, give you a warm blankie. And there's a time for that. What made you realize that?
because I've been a victim my whole life. And by that, I mean, there was an unconscious victim that presented herself primarily through a good portion of my life because of the circumstances that had happened with me, and not having good mentorship or good leadership to help me navigate and understand what I experienced in a healthy way. There was none of that. And so my brain just navigated it the way it did. Right. And it presented as a victim. I wasn't aware of that. Right. So there's a lot of people out there that present as victims. They're not aware that they're presenting as victims. So because of, I don't want to tippy-toe around it. I'll just get straight to cut straight to the chase. In 2017, I lost my daughter. I was pregnant with my only daughter. Y'all just heard I've had 6 children. I just had my 6th boy. So I have 6 boys. At that time, I had 3 boys. I was pregnant with my first girl. I was so excited because I really wanted a baby girl. I might cry. I might, because it's still like, that was my daughter. I was very attached to having my daughter. And around 6 months, she passed away. She had some congenital issues, and there were too many. And so, interesting fact that I did not know before, you can have one kind of genetic issue in utero, but if you have 2 or more, the chances of your baby surviving are exponentially decreased. And she had cleft palate, cleft lip, and bilateral club feet. And so the doctor, whenever they discovered it, they were like, she is not probably going to make it. And it was about a week later, she passed away. And it was just awful. It was hard. And that was like, I just led into the dark night of it was the dark year of my life, and I was bullied growing up. I've had sexual misconduct done to me. I've had, a lot of things that I didn't know how to navigate. And that was the climax for me. It was, like you said, it was that sense of, I've had so much pain in my life. I didn't know how to navigate. And then this thing happened, and it was like, game over. I can't breathe. I cannot process the amount of pain I'm in. And so, you ask, what was the question? I'm like, I'm getting lost.
How did you figure it out? You're not lost at all. You're right on time.
You're not lost at all.
No,
I can ramble, y'all.
Yeah, but you know what? The magic fucking happens sometimes in the telling of our stories. You know that.
For sure.
That. But
how did you figure out who to go to, or how did you figure out that basically to lift yourself out of this darkness? You said you get to seek support, but actually supportive humans, or support that's actually going to be helpful.
Right. Push your edges, question your story.
So here I am, struggling with what happened with Libby, and talk to my mom about it, and she would just reaffirm my pain. Right. Mm-hmm. Talk to my husband about it. It was shit tense with my husband. Like, it was so, you could feel it, you could cut it, it was just so tense between him and I after. And he was not supportive, even though he knew how much pain I was in. Like, he didn't know how to navigate it. Right. Mm-hmm. So this is a good point. We cannot go to somebody who doesn't even know how to navigate their own emotional state and expect them to help us navigate ours. And so what happened with me was, about 8 months later, I was literally planning out my suicide. I'm like, how do I kill myself? Because I cannot bear to live. I can't breathe. I'm miserable. I hate my husband. I'm so not even connected with my kids. I don't even know the purpose of my existence. I just want to die because it'll take the pain away. Like, that's where my head was at. And one day, the reason why I didn't go through with it, initially when I had the thought, was I didn't want my kids to be the kids who had their mom kill herself. Right. So it's like, it's got to be accidental. How do we fudge this thing? Well, one day I'm numbing out. I'm checked out and hanging out in my bedroom. I'm on YouTube just scrolling. And I came across this video of this woman. Her name's Lisa Nichols. Love her. She's like, I'm her forever champion. Come across this video of hers, and I don't remember the specific video, but I remember the message. The message was that I could pull myself up from the muck, right? That I could actually turn what had happened into purpose, that it could actually, there could be something beautiful on the other side, but I'd never know if I didn't make the choice to improve my life for myself. So I chose. I just chose to believe her. I just chose to say, okay, like, what if she's right? And somebody who doesn't have the emotional intelligence or capacity to see beyond that pain wouldn't have that kind of message. And so it's, to me, from there, I became obsessed with finding leaders and mentors and guides who had learned how to navigate emotional shit in order to learn from them, stand on the shoulders of giants, so to speak. How do I take their wisdom and apply it to my pain and to my life so I can improve and excel? And so I just started to see the difference, the contrast between, I go to mom to talk to her about what is going on with my life and go to her to cry or bitch or whatever. And she would reaffirm. She's doing it because she thinks it's her way of expressing love to me and compassion, but it's not helpful because it reaffirms my pain, right? It reaffirms my victim versus going to these, even though they might not be besties of me or like people that I could call, I could go and listen to Lisa. I could go and listen to Dr. John DeMartini. I can go and listen to a lot of these mentors that I love. And I'm like doing this, like we're talking on the phone. We're not talking on the phone, but I could go to them and really start to take what they say and apply and just see the difference, like just see the difference in the way they talk about the painful situations that life can present to us versus having those conversations. And my mom's not the only person. Like, I don't mean to just call my mom out. She's just, easy for me to talk about. But the more and more I've done this work and been in this headspace of how do I live a life worth living, even with the pain of my past? And I've just seen conversation after conversation. I get really tired of talking to somebody if I'm in a victim-y mind and they're reaffirming me. I'm like, I just don't even want to have the conversation because I know now that is not a conversation worth having.
In the recovery space, we call this signing off on your bullshit. I don't want somebody to sign off on my bullshit. I want somebody to hold up the mirror for me and be like, hey, are you sure about that?
Yeah.
Like, could it be another way? Yeah.
100%. 100%. And so it's something that's really, really important to pay attention to. When I coach, and I've been coaching now for several years, and I coach new entrepreneurs that are coming in, they want to build their brand. They want to, get visibility. They want to have offers that they can make from home and, they want to have the dream life, but they wrestle with the mindset. They wrestle with their smallness. And it would be really easy for me to just let them stay there. And Shannon's seen it. I hope Shannon's seen me confront some of my clients' beliefs, because it's like, you don't serve somebody if you're reaffirming their smallness. So whether it's yourself in that situation where you're in victim or you're sad or you feel like you're suffocating and you feel like the world's coming down on you, or you see somebody in that situation, the worst thing to do is say you're right. Or the worst thing to do is to be like, to affirm it.
Well, it affirms their helplessness.
Yeah.
In victim. Yeah, for sure. And we're here because our goal is to create an impact, or we have a story to share. And it's a season of joy. How do we create joy? And what I hear you saying, and I love it, because our audience, I am sure everybody is resonating and they feel the pain. They feel the struggle. They know Mirilena pulled her Kleenex out. I told y'all we're going to need Kleenex before we even get started. The story is raw and real. And I love that you giving others permission, because I've done the same thing. And not always our circle of humans that we are connected to will elevate us to a new way of being. And so and now I know why that conference that you went to in person was so profound. Like now I'm like connecting the story and the pieces, seeing you there and is amazing now as I'm just putting the pieces together in my brain. There gets to be somebody for you, and it doesn't have to be your partner who is going through the hell with you. It doesn't have to be your parent, because our job is, as our moms, is to like either say rub dirt on it or give them a Linky. And I feel like I probably rub dirt on more. My kids are like, can I have a little bit of sugar, please? Can you add a little more sugar? Like, no, I can't. This is where I am. So I love that. You're giving other people permission to be like, okay, I get to look outside of myself and I get to look up and outwards. And maybe it is somebody online. And I know that for the last 5 years, it has been people online. My kid constantly tells me, you need to hang out with people. And I'm like, I hang out with people all the time.
Yeah.
And she's like, close your computer and hang out with humans. And so there gets to be a time and a place. Absolutely. But I know that for me, for a fact, that the people that have elevated me into the human that is here, it has been people that that are coaches, that are our influencers, that have gone through the shit that I have already, and they're outside of it. You know what I mean? We get to look up and look out sometimes. And that is beautiful.
So,
and
Shannon,
I'm so excited.
Who are your two favorite? We have Nicolette's two favorite. She just told us two. Who are your two?
Oh my goodness. This is hard.
I know. Just putting you on the spot.
Yeah, I didn't know I was like going to be interviewed. This is not even fair. Oh
we're doing practical tools today.
Yeah, we are doing
practical
tools.
Let's already drop two. Now you get to drop two, and I'll drop two while you think. Abraham Hicks, huge for me.
Yeah.
Lynn Forrest is my teacher, and I do the work that she does. I learned from her, and she completely changed my life after a nervous break at 24. Mm-hmm. And so, like, she was before YouTube and before Facebook really took off. I worked with her, and she just completely effing changed my life. And I literally do the work I do because of her. But also, like, there are so many. Abraham Hicks has been huge in like my own personal journey. And then Wayne Dyer.
Oh, love Wayne.
Love Wayne Dyer too. I can't just
God.
Yes. I like Wayne Dyer, all of the goodness. And I listen to Abraham Hicks too a lot, especially on YouTube. If you guys don't know who we're talking about, find them in social media because they're amazing. I am like soaking up Michael Singer right now.
Oh yeah.
Like I am soaking up, but there's always new and powerful stories. But I really have to lend goodness to like Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi, because they're my people that just really pushed to elevate, like just pushed to be like, use the story, get clear on the story, go 7 levels deep on this shit, and anything is possible. And so like things that I say or things that I do is because the 7 levels deep, or like all of the goodness that they have pushed and enabled me to strive for in the last 3 years. And so, powerful humans.
Absolutely.
Back to our regularly scheduled programming.
Jeez. Back to, so we'll put the list of all our humans.
Yeah.
In there. I love this. So the story is amazing and profound, and it was a hell of a year. Yes. You looked up. Lisa was an amazing human. Mm-hmm. You got to meet in person.
Yes. Yeah. I got to be on stage with her.
Yes, you did. That was amazing.
Yeah.
First of all, tell us how that was for you, because I really want to know.
This is what I call magic, is when these little serendipitous events happen. And, here's this woman that had been such a pivotal voice in my journey. And what's funny too is she's not somebody I stalk online. I don't spend a lot of time like looking for Lisa or anything, but I love her, right? Like I am a diehard Lisa Nichols fan forever because of the transaction that we had, the energetic exchange that we had that she didn't even know she was providing me, right? She just knew that she was doing good work. And going to this conference with her that she put on, I was just an attendee. And she was looking for people in the audience to talk about, she had some little project or something that we were working on. And she asked for volunteers. And I was like, the crazy person in the crowd that's just like, pay attention to me. And so she was like, okay, come on. And so to get on stage with her it was one of those magical moments, like, wow, like I never thought that I'd be in the same room with her, let alone on a stage with her. And so that was really just a beautiful moment. And I am 100% convinced, mark my words, that will not be the last time.
Beautiful. I love it. I love it. I love it. So I have a couple questions. I know you create spaces for humans to create magic. How do you create joy in your life every single day? You have 6 kids, an amazing husband, a business that you are growing exponentially. How do you create joy every day?
Well, first and foremost, I will say that my life is like sheer chaos. And I think maybe the chaotic nature of my life just makes me freaking laugh. Like I just look around and I'm just like, what is this life? But it's from a different place than the victim to which I'm so comfortable. It comes from a place of like, this is just this wild season in my journey. And so actually just the chaos gives me a lot of joy because it's like this idea. I'm not very familiar with this concept, but have y'all ever heard of the concept of contrast? Bob Proctor talks about it. Mm-hmm. Okay. So often when we're in a growth season, life just looks like crazy, right? There's a lot of, every time you want to level up, there's going to be challenges, obstacles, things that are coming at you where you feel like I'm never going to get to where I think I want to go. Right. And so like, that's where I'm at in my life. There's just chaos and kids and food everywhere and markers on the walls and kids peeing everywhere. And I mean, it's just like my household is just nuts. Right. And
I'm getting this
that was being rated G. Okay. That was being very rated G.
Literally getting a visual of 6 boys. Like there's not enough bathrooms.
There's not enough bathrooms. There's not enough grass in the yard. They just have to pee in walls. And, like they just got, if there's if there's surface, they've got to get pee on it. Okay.
Yeah. It's just a shit show over there. Like that's really the quickest way to sum it up. My life is a shit show. It is
it's just a shit show. Why do you think the background's blurred? There's just pee everywhere.
There's just pee. No, there's not. Oh my God. That's so funny. Oh my God. Okay.
So you have to, I have to laugh at it. And I could, and I'm not going to lie and say that I never do, but I could just like be in this sense of nothing's going to ever work, right? I'll never be who I want to be. I'll never create what I want to create. And I definitely teeter there. Like, I'm not saying that it's perfect. I definitely can teeter there, but I just have to always, here's a trick. Here's a secret if you don't know it yet. I really hope your audience listens. Like, please listen to this. You can have the shitty thoughts. The shitty thoughts will always, always, always be there. You got to learn to stop believing them. So that's the distinction for me, is like my brain goes there. But I have learned, because of all the tools and all the work that I've done over the years, that it is not something that I choose to believe. It's irrelevant, whatever thoughts crazy thoughts are happening in my head, they're irrelevant, and I do not have to believe them.
It's up to us what we believe.
100%.
Yeah,
absolutely.
100%.
Oh my gosh. That was profound. Practical tool right there. Friends.
I call
write
those
it down.
Nicoletteisms.
Nicoletteisms. Put it on your damn mirror.
that's right.
We are always going to have negative thoughts. Like the thoughts are going to go through our all day long. We can reframe them. We can meditate. We can listen to a song. We can they're still going to come up. Like I have a dear friend was like, I thought I got over this. Sister, it is going to come back. Like you can't just make them stop. We have 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day.
Yeah.
Most of them are freaking negative.
Yeah.
It's
and they're repetitive too. And that's something super important to realize and recognize is I think it's something crazy. Like 85% of your thoughts are the same ones you had yesterday.
Yep.
Like people, we have to intentionally work on creating and generating new, better, healthier thoughts, which is why affirmations are so, they're so in vogue, but it's just true. Like we've got to retrain our brains.
There is this thing. I just took a neuroplasticity course, neurosculpting course, which is another really cool tool.
I love that.
But it's a type of meditation, but it's really focused on neuroscience. And so like all the woo-woo, right? Like how many times in metaphysical conversations have you heard, right? Among like in the spiritual circles, what you focus on grows, right? And everybody's like, what you focus on grows. Like don't focus on the negative, focus on the other things because what you focus on grows. And a lot of people think that that's like new age woo-woo, like bullshit, right? But it's actually not. There's this thing called Hebb's Law. Hebb's Law. And I can't remember all of it in entirety right now, but basically it is that what you focus on in your thoughts it basically forges neural pathways that become easier grooves to like focus on. And so it makes it easier for you to like domino from this thought to that negative thought over there. Whereas if you focus on like the micro wins and the little things that are positive and gratitude, you actually literally begin to have more neural pathways to those thoughts. And so the other neural pathways to the negative shit just kind of start to shrink. And so it really is true. It really is true. What we focus on grows. We don't have to focus on the negative shit. We get to be like, what if that is not true? What if that's not true? Could it be something else? Could it be the positive version? Maybe. Like, let's focus on that.
And let me take that up a notch too. There's that concept of you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time around. There's exactly what you said. Oh, please hear this. This is so important. It's why, like, let me tell the thing. The people you spend your time around, your brain is literally modeling. Your brain literally, so the more time that Shannon, Mirilena, and I hang out, the more our brains are actually starting to rewire to be like each other. Hear me on this. If you're hanging out with somebody who is small-minded, who is low energy, who is negative, who is cynical, who is doubtful, who is just like scummy, guess what you're going to be? And it's not because you're a bad person, it's because your brain literally is wiring to be like them. It's so, so important. So they show scientifically the rewiring of minds and the modeling of one brain to another. It's very scientific. It's very real. And it's something to take like life and death. If you want to improve your life, if you want to grow and excel, expand, you must be around other people who are in expansion.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that we were all like silent. And we were like, Mirilena, if you're not watching this on YouTube, Mirilena and I were like, she's like, listen to this. And we're all like, it is so true though. And we say it to our kids, and I'm sure 170 million times in the next 18 years, you will tell your kids the same thing. You are the humans you hang out with. And my kids are now older. 21 and 20. And they're like, no, mom, I'm my own human, right? No, mom, I'm not blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, but you are, you will inevitably be like those humans, or the words you say are going to be like those humans, or what you act like is going to be like that human, even if you don't want to, you replicate it. And that is such a good and profound statement as well.
Oh, are you done? Sorry, didn't want to interrupt. Please forgive me. I think the other thing too that's really important to remember is that it's okay to give yourself permission to change the people you hang out with, because they are small-minded, because they are stuck in the negative, even if they are really good people. Mm-hmm. Even if they're people that you really love, even if they're friends you've had since elementary school, even if they are family members who you care about deeply, it is okay to look at them and be like, whoa, we are not on the same train. Yeah. And I want to keep going in the direction my train is going. And I love you. And I'm going to choose to surround myself with different people, because I think a lot of us choose to stay. I know I have chosen to stay in friendships for a really long time. And like last year specifically, I gave up a 20-year friendship that I had been holding on to for a really long time. And it had been really unhealthy for a really long time. And when I got sober, I lost a lot of friends, right? And it really is because my train was just moving in a different direction. Mm-hmm. Their train was moving in that old direction that was stuck on the negative, stuck in not being good enough, stuck in not being able to heal, stuck in nothing being their fault. And my train was like, no, I'm not a victim anymore. Like, I'm going to go over here and heal my shit. You want to come? No? Okay. Like, I'm out. And I think it's okay to do that.
And it really creates tension in relationships as well. When you're growth minded and somebody is not, you can feel it in the conversation. You know, there are some people where I want to talk about growth related, like this is my jam, what we're doing here. I could sit here and talk with you ladies all day long and be energized by the end of the night. Other people, you know, that are not in that growth mindset, they haven't been exposed to the tools, or they've been exposed to tools and they have chosen not to embrace them. You know, they stay in petty things like, she was judging me for my hair color. It's like, why are we even talking or thinking about these things? You know, like there's more to life than worrying about what somebody thinks about you in the grocery store, you know,
or worrying about what you think of everybody else.
Right. And so it's one of those things, like the quality of our conversations are radically different by the people that we spend time around. And all of those things matter. And all of those things lead to the path that you choose to walk.
Absolutely. Even from the leadership program that we were in, like our conversations are completely different.
Yeah.
The style of communication is completely different. The way it's just neutral. No one's bad or good or whatever. Like it's just completely neutral. I love this conversation. Okay. We could, we've already established there might even be a B conversation to this. We established we could talk forever.
Yeah.
And, but I really want to know, in a simple term, first of all, two things. It's going to be like Mirilena, ask two things. I know I've asked how you bring joy into your day. But if you could leave our audience with one tool, we've gone through the muck. We've gotten out of the muck. We have, oh my gosh, so many things have happened in this session, and this conversation has been beautiful. And I appreciate your vulnerability. I appreciate your ability to share authentically, whether it's the boys peeing on the walls or any other story that has come up today, because I love all of it. If you could leave our audience with one practical tool to bring joy in their life every single day, what would you tell them to do?
I was actually looking at, I'm going to give you all two things. I'll give you one and then I'll give you a bonus. Okay.
Yes. I love bonuses.
I just looked this thing up because this was a tool. You know, Lisa was a catalyst for awakening for me. And then many, many, many other leaders came my way that I just like absorb, apply, right? And worked through my own shit to be able to get to where I am today. But this one tool was probably the most pivotal at the beginning. So I want to share it. The 4 Agreements by Miguel Ruiz. If you have not checked
that book.
It's so simple. And the one piece of it that saved my marriage was don't take anything personally, because I was taking everything personally. Right. And so that was such a pivotal tool for me. So I would definitely say get to a place where you can, like that neutrality you were talking about, Shannon. How do you do that? Like, what is the actual application of that? If somebody says something to you that you take offense by, literally just stop yourself. Do not react. You've got to give yourself space to process what's happening. Reaction is the key to destroying relationships, destroying your happiness. Just stop reacting. And then think about, this, whatever you hear and you're taking personally, it's about two things. It's about you and how you feel about yourself. And it's about the other person and how they feel about themselves. And we're just like don't take anything personally is like, I have my reality, you have yours. And we have these like bubbles around us that are invisible. We don't see, but we attack each other through our little bubbles. And it's just a game. We don't even know we're playing. So I would just say, really be conscious about your reactions. Don't react, pause, process, and realize there's something going on in here that's making me want to react. Let's focus on that, because you can't do anything about that person. Period. End of story. You cannot. And then all you can do is worry about this person. And so what's going on in here that's bringing up that heat, that energy that makes you want to, you want to focus on like what's going on there, because there's a story there. Mm-hmm. So that's my first tool that I'll say is like, that will radically transform your relationships. It will change your marriage if you let it. So that was that. Let me tell you the bonus one, because the bonus one means so much more to me.
Okay.
So
I'm ready.
You and I'm going to get a little spiritual on y'all. Can I get a little spiritual on y'all?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Bring it.
I think we're okay here. So I love to use this analogy of kingdom principles, like God, the creator. If we look at him as king overall, a very, spiritual concept, right? He's the king. That makes me a princess. That makes you a princess. Right. And if you look at how like the royal family raises their children and what the royal family, the children in that family, they raise up and they have that sense of, some people might say privilege or whatever, but it's like, they just know their place. We don't know our place because we're raised by a bunch of small-minded people. And it's not like, I'm not trying to be mean at all to mommies and daddies out there, but we just, this is like, we're evolving. We are evolving. So every generation, we get a little bit more savvy. We get a little bit more aware of our place. I'd like to expedite that, so like a tool for you is to really recognize where you're feeling unworthy. There's a story there that must be confronted. And it needs to be confronted in the light of you are a prince or a princess of the Most High. Like I love to think about this analogy because it's just the truth. And if we can sit with it and if we can hold ourselves like, I'm a princess. I was not meant to be garbage. I was meant to be royalty. And that shifts the way you see how people treat you. You no longer stand for being, the mat somebody walks on. It shifts the way that you talk to others. And you shouldn't go to like, now I'm better than you. It's not about that. It's about, we're on the same level. You're also a prince or a princess. We're all royalty. How can we start navigating this world together where we value first ourselves and then those around us? And it's like, it can be a very, like, it's nice to hear concept. The reality of executing it is a different story. And that's where I want you to play. How do you daily look around, and instead of judging people, instead of being mad at people, I always use the like driving, the road rage, like getting mad at people for no reasons. Like, look, you can come up with all the excuses in the world while you're yelling at people in your car, but at the end of the day, that is the son or daughter of the Most High. That is a royal family member. So are you. Let's start acting like it and driving like it.
Yeah, that is
oh my
incredible. Gosh. There is a saying that one of my teachers that I've been following lately, I can't not remember her name. She's an older woman. But she always says, like, we are all equal in the eyes of God. Like, you need to understand, like, we are all equal in the eyes of God. Like, we are all literally mirrors of each other. We're reflections of God, right? Like, that's literally why we were created. And then in the spiritual lineage, one of the lineages in which I study, what was shared with me was that the root of all suffering is avidya, which is ignorance, right? And it's this ignorance of the true nature of who and what we are.
Yes, 100%.
That's amazing.
Oh my gosh. So we all have homework. What I hear you saying is we all have homework. And it is to elevate our way of being, because we all are princes and princesses of the Most High. We aren't garbage. We aren't meant to be doormats. And I will seriously sit on this for a long time. I love that you said that at the end. I love this gift and this tool for our audience. Nicolette, this has been beautiful. Beautiful. I love this conversation. Pretty sure there's going to be a B.
Hey, bring it on. Let's have a B and a C and a D and an E. Let's have the whole alphabet.
I love it. I don't even feel like we got into the thick of what we could have done and brought out in this conversation. We just touched, friends. We just touched this conversation a little bit. This has been absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your stories and your time with us.
Yeah,
I know that our audience is like, wow. And so tell us where they can find you. Tell us where to go. They can connect with you if your story resonates, or they want to know more about what you're bringing to the world.
Yeah. Come check me out on nicolettemore.com. You can find me there. I promise. And, and you can always come hit me up in the DMs in Facebook. I'm always in the DMs. So we can be friends on Facebook. Literally my URL is facebook.com/friends with Nicolette. So come be friends. And yeah, you can find me. You can find me online. Just look me up.
Yeah. And Nicolette,
awesome.
You're going to have a really awesome offering coming out soon, I believe,
yes.
where people who are out there shining their light, right? As a child of God, they're out there, they're shining their light, they're doing good things in the world. And I think it has to do with unicorns and speaking, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so it hit me a few weeks ago. By the way, any entrepreneurs listening, like, just let yourself evolve. Don't get married to ideas, because they're just going to evolve. So let it. Okay. So
Love
I had
it.
to say that.
That was an extra bonus.
Yeah, extra bonus. So I had this idea a few weeks ago about this concept of your USP in marketing, unique selling proposition. All right. Y'all are familiar. Well, I had this idea of, it's not really about your unique selling prop. I thought it's your unique story. And then I took it another step and said, it's actually your unicorn story, because your unicorn story is what makes you like that special juju that is only for you. No one can take it from you. And so I thought, how can I make unicorns? And that came to me because a client called me her partner unicorn. And I just thought, I fucking love that shit.
That is amazing. I love it too.
I'm going to lean into unicorn like crazy, because I just really love it. It's just such a fun, happy idea. And speaking of joy, let's all be unicorns together. And absolutely. Unicorns are just rare, and they get to embrace their own unique colors. So, and tell their unique tales. Tails, unicorn.
Yes, I get it. I'm with you.
I try. Anyway, so I have, we're doing a Voice of Purpose. It's a speaking competition. I'm going to start restructuring it for 2024 into a speaking experience, because I believe that's what it is. Would that be fair to say, Shannon?
Yes.
It's a speaking experience.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it definitely a speaking experience?
Yeah, it's far beyond a competition. But the whole idea is, how do you find your unique story? How do you find something that is the anchor point of the business that you're building? And how do you connect all the pieces so that everything is uniquely you, is your unique ecosystem that nobody else can touch? No one can touch it. And it all starts with your message. And so I'm obsessed with this because I want to create other Lisa Nichols in the world. Right. Lisa made such an impact in my life. And I know that we just need more. Like, we need to multiply. We need to multiply like crazy. So maybe we should call each other, bunny rabbits or something. Bunny rabbits.
You really, I'm just going to leave that alone. Never mind.
Anyway, so we need more of us, right? We need more of us. And I want to create that stage, that platform to be able to help other heart-centered humans who want to make the world a better place and bring this elevated level of thinking into their businesses. I want to give them a stage. I want to help them to formulate their message that they can build their business around. So that's part of it, is the speaking experience. I have a program I'm putting together to like really go deep and build that ecosystem out in very fun and impactful ways. My life, I'm just committed to helping others make a difference, because that gets to be the difference I make.
All right.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh, that's beautiful.
A website, check out her offerings, check out the speaker experience. I want to be in that next year. Like, yes.
Come on, girl. Bring it.
Thank you so much for being here. This is a killer conversation.
Yeah,
it is. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my gosh. Have an amazing day. We'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you. Bye.